Ocean breaking news about Betoja, Chief Justice Winston Semia. Now, Deputy Attorney General Justice Remside, on the Facebook was or say, I can confirm that the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Torkono, has filed another court case. To this time at the Ecowas Community Court in Abuja, Nigeria, against the Republic. In the case which was filed on July 4th, her ladyship repeated the same allegation of human rights violation, which are currently pending determination before our Supreme Court and also before our High Court in respect of the ongoing removal process. Essentially, her ladyship argues that by her suspension, she has effectively been removed from her official capacity without a final determination, impairing her right to function and serve in position she was constitutionally appointed to. So ni nyina ne say eye ma mega tutoko no wako eye Ecowas court. Yes, Ecowas court Abuja akofale a new case against eye Mahama. Yeah, Kesi Republica, that's the head of the Republic, Mahama, and I say what the state against the removal of her against the suspension because Mahama and the suspended no anti justice Torkono akoprim eye Ecowas court in Nigeria. We need breaking updates now. Share to media no I daily update so we give you the best. Young realm na yebeti no one sema more kind discussion related to Chief Justice Torkono. Stay tuned.
The counsel for Vincent Ekwasifa was Godfrey Dame. Is that the case? The petition was given to the CJ. The matter became moot, and they submitted a supplementary or filed a supplementary motion that everything was unconstitutional, but they must stop everything, which was also dismissed by the Supreme Court. You see, if, like my brother said, if she was going to go down alone, that wouldn't be a problem. But this unwavering attempt to destroy institutions, the Chief Justice may think that she's only targeting the presidency and, for that matter, the government. But she's also hurting the image of the Council of State. In fact, she doesn't respect them at all. Because the Constitution is so clear that before you establish a prima facie case, it has to be done in consultation with the Council of State. 31 members of the Council of State, including former Chief Justice and Speakers of Parliament, President of the National House of Chiefs, a lot of chiefs on it, businessmen and so on and so forth. So is the Chief Justice telling us that all these people hate her and that all these people can be manipulated to behave in a certain way? So now the attempt to remove this CJ happened during the Akufo-Addo's regime. Remember the petition that was filed by Professor Kwakwa Asare? Yeah. He raised fundamental issues that the CJ was attempting to do something that was unconstitutional, that is nominating judges to the Supreme Court. What do you know in this country? Yeah. The president then, Nana Akufo-Addo, together with the Council of State, said they didn't see any questions that necessitated the removal of the CJ. He dismissed the petition. In fact, the president was so much concerned about why that petition had to be leaked. That was his focus. And that he was even looking at provisions within our criminal code, our jurisprudence, that could nail Professor Kwakwaza, so that by now you'll be languishing in Zaum for you attempting to remove the Chief Justice. He dismissed it. Now a new government comes to power. Someone petitions. A prima facie case is established. Committee is set up. You are asked to step aside. All these things are contained in our constitution. And you say someone is hunting you. Then it is the people of this country that are hunting you, because whatever is happening is contained in the constitution. And this constitution has been accepted by the people of this country. So if there are any wrongdoings happening, you must be angry at the constitution. And not individuals who are only doing what is expected of them under the laws of the land. When you yourself have said the law is the law. Now you see what she did the last time, Senna. if no contempt charges are brought against her, it has opened the floodlight. I bet you there is no case that will go to court that I will not comment on it. Take it from me. If contempt charges, if the woman is not cited for contempt, nobody can prevent anybody from commenting on a live case. Because that's what she has done. So lawless. So lawless. And we must not be counted. I am very disappointed in the husband, honestly. Husbands are supposed to protect. He must not allow this to be continuing. What did she come to tell the people of this country as being violations? That she was searched. She was searched whilst attending to committee meetings. Hey, madam. So you were not supposed to be searched. What she has even done presupposes that the searching of her was very important. Can you imagine this woman going with cameras? She will go and video everything and edit and throw it into the system. So that is the one worry. The second worry has to do with the venue. Edu Lodge. Senna, you see where the High Court is? If I tell you what happened to my great-great-grandfather at that location, Nanedu. Anytime I am invited to this court and I remember what happened to Nanedu, I can't think far. But I'm compelled to go because I've been summoned. Everyone has an issue with the location, but go and speak your side of the story. You say location. So that one too cannot be countenance. Say the husband was not allowed to enter into the venue. The amounts of violations. And you wonder which provisions in the Constitution states that when you are invited before any committee of inquiry, your husband or your wife must be by you. That one too is another matter that she spent so much time on. Say the first day, his lawyer was not acknowledged. But what she failed to do, even if it's anything to go by, is that the subsequent days, was the lawyer allowed to do whatever he wanted? That one is absent. The Chief Justice tells us that in spite of the provisions in Article 146 or 144 thereof, that before judges are nominated to the Supreme Court, there has to be a consultation with the Judicial Council. So it's a practice, it's an established practice, that the Chief Justice, together with the Attorney General and the Ghana Bar Association, they give us the judges. Oh, she's exposing things. Oh. You ask yourself whether the Attorney General, the Ghana Bar Association, and the Chief Justice, they constitute the Judicial Council. His answer is an emphatic no. And this is supposed to be a violation. Then she takes on Daniel Ofori, clean. She doesn't respect the man at all. But you see, for her information, for the information of your viewers, Mr. I have said it here before. Daniel Ofori is not just Daniel Ofori, he's an investor. He has a huge investment in this country. So if you are talking about him, you must also be measured. Now, Daniel Ofori being matured, I'm sure you have read his response. He said he's not going to respond to the Chief Justice in spite of the clear lies or falsehoods told at the press conference. That is how things are supposed to be done. You are a Chief Justice. You are supposed to have led our justice system. You are supposed to have straightened the judiciary. The very person that is mandated to do that is now in the public space complaining of injustice. Then it marks of failure. That you don't have to be in that space. Look, Mr. Daniel Ofori raised 21 issues of misbehavior and 4 issues of incompetence. Go to the committee and explain your side. Now you are telling us that the committee, you are angry because the committee did not even give you a copy of the petition. So you ask yourself, which petition did she respond to the president? So she doesn't trust the president or the committee members because they could change it. Would it not benefit you if the president gave me petition A that contains issues to do with farming, and the committee is dealing with issues dealing with football? Who will lose? Would it not be the committee? These two must you come and tell us. She makes the point that she has received threats. Hey, madam, Torkono to receive threats and will keep quiet. It will never happen. Palpable falsehood. She told the people of this country without evidence. And at the same time that she was telling us that she received threats and then be lambasting the people of this country plus the government, at the end of the program, I saw two tall policemen offering protection to her. What a beautiful country. You go and speak your mind and after police guides you. Are you not happy with that? So, Sana, the long and short of what the Chief Justice came to do was to appeal to the people of this country to beg for her to have her entitlement. I mean, that is the summary to what she did. But to say that, you don't have to go round in circles. Acknowledge that you goofed. Should have negotiated your exit, but if you have realized that where things are going is not favoring, there is a way to go around it. Because he said now it's not an option because of a decided case. And that you could lose all your entitlement. So you are going to fight till the end. No, let us do something about entitlement if that is the case. So that we will have our peace of mind. But now you are discrediting your own colleagues. From Justice Foreman to Justice Siedu, to even those that sat on your case. Because when you went to the Supreme Court, one of the relief that you were seeking was that this whole committee hearing has to be heard in public. Is that the case? They refused. Now you are in the public. It means you don't even respect that decision. When you yourself have told us that when matters are before any court, we have no business commenting about them, then you come and do this against what is stated in the Constitution. But now she must be preparing herself to resign. But I would plead with this administration that if there are ways of, as it were, forgiving her wrongs, to look into the matter of entitlement, because that seems to be the case. I'm not the president anyway. That could be looked at. And other than that, the angle that she is trying to go, it will not help her. I'll end it here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And he referred to that statement by Mr. Daniel Ofori, who says, my attention has been drawn to a media engagement on 25th June 2025 by the suspended Chief Justice, at which she publicly discussed the contents of my petition for a removal as Chief Justice and the proceedings in respect of the petition. The Chief Justice is acting in clear breach of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which requires the inquiry to be in camera. As a law-abiding citizen and out of respect for the constitutional process and the committee, I will not seek to go on the path of the suspended Chief Justice, not even to correct plain falsehoods in her statements. When it is constitutionally and legally appropriate to engage the public on matters regarding my petition and the process, I shall do so. Truth stands. And that's signed Daniel Ofori, who is one of the petitioners who have submitted a petition against the Chief Justice that have triggered Article 146 hearings that are currently being conducted by the committee. They are supposed to be in camera, but the Chief Justice gave us a taste of how she feels about how the committee is going about its work and the petition before the committee. Zabrat?
Well, last Wednesday, the suspended Chief Justice invited the media for a press conference. And she announced to the world that she cannot be Chief Justice again. she gave us reasons why nobody under any circumstance should appoint a person like her as Chief Justice of this country. One, she demonstrated an incapacity to rise above her prejudice. She demonstrated an incapacity to come out, of a family history which has clouded her judgment and affected her emotional stability. I mean, anybody suffering from these symptoms must not be allowed to be Chief Justice. Because we expect that whoever is Chief Justice will be fair to all those who appear before her. This one is incapable of being fair to all those who appear before her. One of the major complaints is this, that where the sittings are taking place, something to do with the murder of Major Aqua took place there. And that Major Aqua was her uncle who looked after her. And because of that, she's emotionally traumatized. These are her words. So I ask, Justice, Her Ladyship, Lordship Torkono is sitting in the Supreme Court. And somebody appears before her, and the person is called Amatekwe. That person, ab initio, has lost his case. Ab initio. It doesn't matter how the case is presented, it doesn't matter the legal validity and so on. Simply being called Amatekwe, trouble. Lost your case. And this is what she is saying. Okay? It's not that somebody is saying, she is saying. It is obvious from what she's saying, from what she herself is saying, that anything which is remotely connected to the murder of the judges and the retired army officer shifts her balance. So you can count the thousands, maybe millions of things that have some connection with that regrettable development in our history. Okay? Now, don't you forget that the NDC claims its beginnings from the PNDC. And don't you forget that one of those who was executed for that gruesome murder was a member of the PNDC. So the hostility to the NDC is established. And perhaps this is a window to understanding why some decisions were taken by her as Chief Justice. And this may also explain how somebody like her was jumped over her seniors to become Chief Justice. This press conference was very, very useful. And indeed, I wish that she would organize another one. So that we can begin to understand the person we're talking about. She says something else, which is very interesting. One of the things which traumatizes her is the absence of her husband. That in tense situations, when her husband is not around, she loses it. Wow. Head of the Judiciary of Ghana. So when there are all these complicated constitutional issues before the Supreme Court and she's sitting in court, she's presiding over the Supreme Court, you have to bring her husband. Because if you don't bring the husband, trouble. Look, she said these things about herself. If somebody had said these things about her, I would have been very angry with the person. Yeah. But these are statements that she's making about herself. That in times of tension, the husband has to be in the room. So when there was that dispute over whether or not the speaker could actually suspend or remove members of parliament, and it became a heated argument, major political issue, and she was sitting in the Supreme Court. Was her husband in the court that day? And if the husband was not in the court, how did that affect her? Unbelievable. You see, Sana, unfortunately today we don't have enough time. One of the other things that the suspended Chief Justice did was to display her exceptional lack of knowledge of the law. I mean, what she did to herself that day at the press conference was terrible. Look, me, I haven't gone to law school. I am not a lawyer. In fact, the only law we learnt was in the Institute of Journalism where we did press law. Yeah. So, but there are some basic things that even us, we know. We know, for example, that the law is the text of the law itself, the hardcore text of the law, in addition to what is referred to as precedent, decisions of the courts, especially decisions of the Supreme Court. The suspended Chief Justice did not know that the Supreme Court, at least on 3 occasions, has pronounced on the confidentiality, the in-camera hearing of Article 146 cases. She didn't know. Senna, she didn't know. She says she doesn't know that the law says that the proceedings has to be held in camera. She didn't know. She didn't know the law.
The law is the law.
My goodness. I mean, look, Senna, there are 3 cases which the Supreme Court has determined on this matter. And first one is Justice Derry versus Tiger Eye. You remember, you recall that. Second one is the Ajay Chum versus the Attorney General. And the third one is the Ghana Bar Association versus the Attorney General. Our suspended Chief Justice did not know. Unbelievable. And the worst part is the fact that the suspended Chief Justice is now holding a press conference, looking all of us in the face and telling us that the judiciary can be manipulated for political purposes. The judiciary, she just left.
She hasn't left.
Well, the judiciary she presided over. She is now telling us that it can be manipulated. Politicians can play games with the judiciary. So when she was sitting there as Supreme Court judge, what did she see? What did she do? And if indeed the judiciary can be so manipulated, is that not sufficient reason why we, the citizens of Ghana, must support every effort to reform the judiciary? Hey, Justice Isaba Torkono, why did she do this to herself? You know, this is something that she should have allowed her worst enemies to do to her. But she chose to do it herself. She actually expended resources to do this damage to herself. I can't believe it. Anyway, be that as it may, now that we know, now that she has told us that in the absence of her husband she cannot function, now that she has told us that even when she enters a place,